And welcome back to All World Gaming. It is nice to be back after that brief 2 hour and about 20-minute intermission. But now I am joined by Wilku. Wilku, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Yali. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite good. I'm really excited to watch Predator X versus Emergence. And because we're late, we're going to be jumping right ahead into it. We are going to be playing on Villa. So, map bans. There were 8 maps that were banned, and this was not one of them.
Right. The only one, in fact, that was
Yeah.
not banned. So here we are. Predator going to start an attack, Emergence on defense here. Villa, very common map. We've all become very familiar. It's been in the map pool for quite a while now. No real reworks to speak of. And the first ban coming out, it's going to be Hibana. Not necessarily the one you'd expect, but it's also not super surprising either.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little interesting. Hibana, generally considered the queen of hatches. There are very few hatches on this map, although Thatcher is going to find his way out of the arena as well, following closely behind Hibana.
On defense, I expect probably Valk, Mira, maybe even a Cade ban, but we'll see. There's the Mira, so we'll see what follows. But it's going to allow the map not to be, too many long lines of sight. Oftentimes, you'll see the Miras played in planes and games. In this case, it's going to be more of a standard setup.
Yeah, fairly standard, and with Valkyrie off the board, it's also probably going to look a little bit less like an Intel game on the defender side than what we saw from the last match that I casted earlier today. But in any case, I'm still definitely looking forward to this and having Hibana off the board. I mean, that leads Aeson, as well as operators like Finka, who I believe was banned last time. So, and Finka has been a very popular ban recently. She's found her way into the meta realistically just because, I mean, she has 2 grenades, a Gon 6, and her utility allows you to pick up multiple teammates from anywhere on the map and just give them a little bit of health. I mean, it can really do a big difference.
Right, in the LMG meta right now, right? I know devs have actually spoken out recently after saying that the smoke change would not come to the live build. They also mentioned LMGs was something they're looking into. It's just a small comment, nothing really to read into, but it does just go to show that they are aware just how strong those LMGs are. Something to watch out for. Finka and the LMG, of course, of Zofia with the most mag size that you can get in this game, I believe. So that's 2 big guns on the table. On top of it, you also have the Lion, who pretty much has an LMG with that 50 round mag.
Yeah. And speaking of big guns, I mean, let's have a look at the Emergence lineup here. Yeah, Matt Bonner, Cordell, and Perseus, and Blue, who recently moved over from Leviathans, where he was their primary fragger. So that is just a stacked lineup on that side. And for Predator X, I mean, nothing to shake a stick at either. Obviously, we have Blue Fishy, Ice Bear, a couple rather notable names as well. So definitely shaping up to be a very good match.
Yeah, this brings back some memories. These some of the first people I ever casted, really Russian in there as well, of course, on the support of the Ace. So just classic lineups here for me and probably you as well. Some engagement coming in downstairs near the lobby. But the swing around the corner, Blue is going to find Ledia. That's going to open things up. Emergence getting that opening kill, so pivotal. The attackers might want to slow down a little bit, try and clear out these roamers, get a little bit better drone game going.
Now, I am curious. It looks like they're going for this sort of bottom-up map control on this side of the map, but that is about as far away from the objective as you could possibly be. I mean, as long as some of this is clear, or you get a drone down here, or you just station someone in clock, you should be relatively safe from vertical interplay. But as well, interesting to see that Emergence has opted to play vertically beneath this half of the map. It's not a part of the map that is touched very often. I mean, even as a site, right? Library and living is not very commonly played. So very interesting to see them there, but hoping to see that they make good use of it. After all, this is 80% destructibility on the vertical interplay.
Indeed, you can see the Yana clone used to eliminate some of these Aruni gates. You see the peaks coming out towards 90. That's Ice Bear on that LMG, one of the ones we mentioned before. Blue sitting on red, though, with the shield. Could be dangerous if they're not going to watch that angle. It looks like they're really not giving too much credence towards it just yet, at least. A lot of pre-firing coming through, but no one's there, so nothing netted. They're going to try and take 90, though, and it's taking a little bit of time. The main thing for them is they don't have to worry about C-Force from below, but that's Perseus getting killed on the Doe, only helping Emergence further in this defense.
Yeah, that kill is going to be huge. I mean, it was already a 4-5. Now it's a 3-5. And with only a minute left, you don't even have 90 control. And now dropping 2 more bodies, Blue and Lev, making this very, very Emergence sided, and Perseus able to finish it off with the second kill of the round. Wow, goodness gracious, what a dominant round starting us off from Emergence.
Indeed, just carrying it forward, getting a flawless round. You can't get really any better than that. They didn't give up any control near sight. The 90 wasn't even taken fully. It was more just opened up, and then you saw the rappel come in, and they died trying to get in on that position. So it just goes to show that Predator Gaming have a lot they're going to have to worry about in this matchup so far. Just by the first round showing the clearing is going to take so much time with how aggressive this hold is.
Yeah, no kidding. And honestly, rightfully so to have such an aggressive hold. This is a meta that we find ourselves in due to attack repick, where flexibility means a lot, especially as a defender. You really have to be able to coordinate with your teammates to build things on a moment's notice. If you're unable to do that, I think you're probably going to find yourself falling behind the meta a little bit. Now, I will say this is a pretty flexible lineup. The Pulse, well, I mean, Pulse is pretty standard here. I mean, Alibi, Aruni, maybe even the Wamai here, definitely not something that you see every day, as well, this site just generally tends to be pretty flexible. I think that might be one of the reasons that we're seeing this site quite a bit more often. It's being played as a secondary site, both for Emergence and earlier today in the last game that we watched.
Remember, Trophy and Statue is one of the worst bomb sites on this map for a long time, statistically speaking. In Pro League, can't speak of other leagues, of course. It's hard to get those stats, but at least at the top of the game, that was not a bomb site that we had saw teams do very well on. So to see them obviously go down below isn't that surprising. And one thing I will note at the lineup that you had mentioned is there's only 2 C4s. So that's something to keep in mind. There's not a lot of deaths from below, so to speak, that are possible. Of course, some impacts could open up some lines of sight, but more than likely, it'll be the attackers trying to get that vertical play. An aggressive hold coming out and extending towards red and landing, and that's going to be Letty actually getting an opening kill onto Perseus to start things off. And now Predator Gaming can start taking ground a little bit faster.
Yeah, I mean, they've already found their way into this knot, and while that player is making their way into Boar, it's going to be contested immediately, and what an aggressive swing by Ice Bear, and it is going to pay off, and now Matt Bonger is well missing a C4. That is some utility off the board that you're going to be happy to see missing as a player of Predator X. They still have Blue to deal with in Astronomy, though, and well, he is certainly going to put up a fight. Already finding one shot. Beautiful pick, might I mention. But now going down, not quite watching his flanks, and Blue Fishy is going to find another, putting them at a 4-2 advantage. Predator X now taking their own turn on the dominant side of this matchup.
Yeah, 4-2 is a big advantage. On top of it, half the round is just starting to elapse, so that's plenty of time for them to make this vertical play, and they can do so. The Sledge is dead, but they still have some soft breaching charges on Ice Bear and Russian, but that's going to get J-Ram getting a kill onto Ledia, but Ice Bear refragging onto Matt Bonger is going to leave it all up to J-Ram, and they're not going to be able to hold out long. Blue Fishy ending their life and evening things back up.
Now, we do have a pause coming out, and I'll take this opportunity just to review the last game. Sorry, I looked away from my microphone. Just to review the last game that we watched. There's not a whole lot to say. It was It's Mid versus Imperium. Two teams, one which was tied for third in qualifiers, and Imperium was very last, barely skirting by. And while Imperium was doing well this season, they did not do very well that game. In fact, Predator X and Emergence have both beat Imperium's score for that game. It was, in fact, a 7-0. It went by pretty fast, and well, I mean, it was still fun to watch, but looks like we're ready to get things rolling in any case. So just in case you missed that, there's that little tidbit of info from the last game that I was able to watch with you guys.
Well, there we go. A little rehash. 7-0s don't happen too often. In this case, it's not going to happen again. One apiece, so that eliminates that opportunity. But I think both teams are kind of okay with that. You never really want it to be at you falling to that 7-0. So I think you'll take a victory. You can get it, but even just the moral victory of not being 7-0 is decent.
No, I mean, you can't complain about that. Now, we do see ourselves on the Trophy Statue site. You mentioned statistically not the best site around, but we do, I mean, we're going to be seeing a vertical extension. I think this is, generally speaking, pretty standard, and while there is going to be a very light horizontal extension as well, I don't think this needs to be played out too much. Really just needs to waste a couple minutes because it is just so easy to get caught on that side of the map as a defender. There is no way to rotate back if they position a player on Skull and a player on Boar, and that's only 2 players. You still have 3 to push everyone else out. So really it becomes a very aggressive play, and it looks like the attackers are going to be playing right into it. But Blue ready to stand off, standing there with the commando in hand, ready to start laying some lead down range.
It's going to be Russian on the 90 repel to cut off the rotate. That's something to watch out for. But Percy is going to get Ledia to open things up yet again. An opening kill for Emergence. We've seen opening kills go each way, and they've won the rounds where they've gotten the opening kill. Obviously, only 2 rounds in. It's not too much of a pattern. But Blue getting a kill on the dough. And another one, Ice Bear, double kill. Now it's all up to Bluefishy and Russian, and they're not in very great positions. The 90-player Russian gets just smoked off of the window there. Bluefishy standing outside of the balcony of Study in a 1v5. Not even a minute into this. That rush did not pay off. They had just lost so many bodies. It could be another flawless round for Emergence.
This match is really coming down to gunplay here. I mean, realistically speaking, at least one of those kills should have gone the other way, but it seems like once one person falls, the cascade just doesn't stop. Almost an avalanche of bodies on whichever side loses the first pick. Like you mentioned, whichever team has taken the first pick has won so far, and as Cordell is going to finish that off, it's going to be another flawless round for Emergence. Predator X, yeah, they're really going to have to step it up. I mean, they're not in a bad position by any means. It's 2-1. You're on attack, whatever. But both of those losses were flawless rounds, and it's all so far just based entirely on this sort of mechanical battle that realistically doesn't necessarily need to happen as long as smart team play is occurring.
And we talked about some heavy hitters on the side of Emergence, and I would say that gunfighting wise, they were probably more confident. They just look like they're more willing to take that engagement. Obviously, you see the extension coming out. That just shows how confident that they are. Versus on the other side, Predator Gaming, they're just feeding into it. They don't seem to be going to their own tune. The time that they did win was they caught some players upstairs and they got them with the angles more than anything. I think that player on red was caught perhaps from either 90 or from even the wolf window. I'm not sure exactly where that had come from, but either way, that was the opening pick. And from there, the other players were swarmed from different angles as well. It wasn't necessarily direct gunfights like we've seen Emergence take and win. So it's something to watch out for. Predator, they're going to have to figure out their own game here. They can't feed into what Emergence is throwing at them.
Now, this setup is something that I'm a little bit intrigued by, and that is just the fact that they have completely reinforced off the wall between Study and Aviator. That is certainly a decision. It was very popular deep in the past, but now we kind of say that doesn't allow you to apply pressure to Study. So if a direct Study take does come out, it can be very potent, very easy to nestle yourself in that corner, that northwest corner of Study. And yeah, but that's not the take we're going to be seeing. Pretty aggressive right off the bat. Perseus looking to challenge it, though. And honestly, every game that I've seen Emergence play, Perseus is right up at the front, ready to take these gunfights. Definitely looks like he's going to fall back, though, and more than likely wisely, as he does have quite a few players on his trail here.
Well, they escape with their life, and it's not a life you'd want to lose. It's the Wamai. Those discs come back over time. So losing them early could have been bad, but also they have 5 kills and 1 death, so they've certainly been able to make it worth their while when he is the one aggressing. But they're going to choose to survive in this case and not fall into the trap because they were ready to pounce on them from all sides, it looked like. Cordell, though, down below could be the X factor in this round. If they're not aware, if they're not watching out for that creep up, they have been very focused on just getting cleared and over into 90/red, and so far that clear is coming through.
Yeah, very effective clear so far. Positioning your player as well, and Cordell is going to be looking for that jump out, but Russian is completely ready for it. There goes your X factor, and now suddenly you're just down a player. And honestly, I have to say this Flores as well, doing a lot of work clearing off that red shield has allowed them to take this map control way earlier, but a little bit of a Wamai bug going to be piercing the ears of Lydia there is, well, just unfortunate for them.
Yeah, sound hopefully not going to continue on forever, but it might for the rest of the round at least. Russian staying on this window, tries to look towards that 90 vault wall, and they might be able to get it open here. But that's not the only thing you'd want here. You want other points of pressure. That can't be the only one that you get. And that's why we see a player below just trying to maybe navigate around, maybe put pressure on this player on the main stairs. Not quite sure what the game plan is, but they only have 50 seconds to get going here. So while they have that man advantage, it's going to start at being an advantage to Emergence. The 6 man of time is only going to favor them as it ticks down. So they have to start worrying about execute.
Yeah, this execute is going to be incredibly important, and Russian is pushing. Does manage to take out the top main player with Ice Bear, but Matt Bonger hiding, sneaking in a corner is going to find the kill, and another as well. And then, unfortunately, going to go down when he makes the swing, and there goes another swing. Wow, beautifully played by Predator X, getting the bomb down and just holding your angles. What a beautifully timed execute, pushing the player into study, able to remove the player from top main, allowing you to focus on just the study door. And ultimately, once you have enough players in those positions, I mean, that swing to try and get behind that tuck vault door position is just going to be rough every time. There's 3 angles you got to watch, and ultimately, you're probably going to fall to at least one of them.
Yeah, Matt Bonger had the best angle to attempt it, and he's swinging on study door and gets taken out by the player prone there. So obviously, had he won that engagement, the player behind vault door would have been way more vulnerable. But as soon as that gunfight was lost, it was pretty much insurmountable for the Y to try and swing there. Just does not work out. We're going to see them rotate now. That was the first round, by the way, where the opening kill did not lead to a win. Emergence getting that opening kill, but did not carry it forward into the win. They lost the gunfights when it mattered most in the dying moments, and then the plant coming through, as we saw, that is going to allow the pattern to fall apart, it seems. Now, down into the dining and kitchen, this is where they had lost before as well. So now Emergence have a little bit of pressure on them.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure indeed. This could be the round that Predator X takes the advantage over Emergence. And honestly, if you're a team with names like these, I mean, you can't complain. Obviously, there are definitely some talented players on Predator X, but there might be a little bit of ego that could ultimately get hurt a little bit, right? Ego is the enemy, and I'm hoping none of these teams have too much of an ego, but when you get a lot of big names together like this, sometimes they, you know how it goes, Wes.
I do, yeah. And the thing is too, like when we mention these names, it's all about, is this a pub stack or is this actually getting players that fit roles that can be cohesive into a full team roster rather than just guns and hoping that works out, right? And that's always the concern. We get big names, just like G2 right now, right? Super team, but they're 2-2. They've lost both games this week, and I'm a fan, so that hurts me to say, but that's just the reality of it. Here, though, Perseus is going to try and aggress once more. They didn't get a kill last round. They just died, and they're hoping for a little bit better showing here, but nothing being gleamed yet. These players on attack have slowed down the pace. They're just going to drone, find out these positions, and it is quite the extended hold above.
Yeah, 3 players above with Cordell all the way in the basement currently. And I do just want to say really fast as well, I can confirm Wes is in fact a G2 fan. He's wearing a G2 jersey right now. You might see it later, not right now, but don't let us forget. But in any case, yeah, I mean, being able to push up to this, not very good. 1.5 minutes, though. I mean, it was nearly a minute before they got themselves into the building, and now they're having to pull these drones from way behind. They are really taking a lot of time here to take this top floor control, and right there, Perseus is going to capitalize on it, taking a kill, and now he's got even more time to just hang out here, and there you go, bait into a C4. Matt Bonger going to eliminate that player with Perseus finishing them off, and Perseus with another. Now suddenly, he's given himself a 2v5 advantage, but down to a 1v4 as another trade goes out. Wow, yeah, as you mentioned, super aggressive on the top floor. I mean, you get 3 players up there. What are you going to do as an attacker? Well, you got to apply a little bit of counter pressure, but so far, we've seen a victory and a loss on every single site from both teams. Now, Trophy and Statue is going to be the decider on whether or not this map goes completely even on the split, or if Emergence are able to pull away with a little bit of an advantage.
Once again, Predator falling prey to a scene that I've seen throughout the rounds that they've been losing, which is playing into where these defenders like to play. And they don't get any real cross angles. Notice how Wolf window was available, and there were players being very aggressive, pushing up into the lines of sight that they could have had they had a player on that window, but they didn't. They're just pushing straight from 90 and straight from study, and that really didn't benefit them at all. They didn't have angles that were going to net them any gain. They're just taking the 50-50 gunfights, or maybe even 40-60 on the side of the attackers, and they just lost it. We also saw something that we didn't see the first time in that defense, which is C4 from below from Matt Bonger, I believe, on the pulse, actually netting them the down and the kill. That was a pretty pivotal moment. It kind of sealed the round for them after that. Predator really weren't going to have any other avenues to try and recapture the round. Now, though, they have one more chance to get an even split before they switch to their defensive half, so they're probably pretty hungry for this one.
Yeah, and I can say I am pretty happy with this vertical extension, and not sure, yeah, we are going to be seeing a very similar horizontal extension to what we saw last time as well, and hopefully PXG doesn't walk right into it. Maybe they'll expect the aggression from blue, and honestly, when you're pushing into this, you've got to expect that aggression because it's kind of their only option. They're pretty stuck here. Now, blue taking a few pot shots through the wall, not going to find anything, and he knows they know where he is, but honestly, his job is just to hang out here and apply a little bit of pressure. Thankfully, PXG is going to be getting ready to play a little bit more wise. That checks the wrong direction. Perseus going to capitalize, and now we are in a 4v5 in favor of Emergence, but they are aware of the position of Perseus, and a player on 90 window is going to force him out, allowing a little bit more entry. There you go, and an entry pick by Lydia for their team.
Well, I was concerned with no live drone getting into the 90. They're just kind of pushing up alone there. Now, hopefully they have a flank drone here because Cordell has a really nice position to get the flank, but I think there's a player playing very aggressive. That's blue, and they're going to get caught out by Lydia. Here comes the flank, though. Cordell getting the kill on the doe. There it is. The worry coming through into fruition. The C4 from below. Matt Bonger finding another Emergence, trying to take the head in this one, as it is about halfway through the round. They have that 3-2 advantage. It's all going to be up to Bluefishy and Russian. We saw them before in this position. There's a lot more dire, and they had a hard time with that.
I do appreciate them making their due diligence, making sure they get drones behind them. They don't want to get flanked by Cordell again. As, I mean, look at this. He's still hanging out in bar. That is going to be a rough position for PXG to clear him out of. If they even know that he's there, he might just hang out there and wait for his time, bide his time, and wait until an execute starts to occur, at which point he can almost definitely get behind them because the attacker is going to be preoccupied with what's in front of them.
Cordell creeping up. Matt Bonger getting the kill on the Russian. Now it's up to Bluefishy. He's going to get pinched from many different angles. He gets one, but can he find the player behind him? No, the player in front, in fact. J-Ram, the Elda in hand, finishes the round. Emergence going to take a 4-2 split before they have to try their hand at attack.
Now, there is something to be said about the fact that this has been a defender-sided map historically. I don't know the stats for us specifically this season, and I don't actually know the stats for Pro League yet this season, but there is a lot of flexibility on the side of the attackers, flexibility that I don't think I really saw taken advantage of by Predator X. And really, I'm hoping to see that Emergence sort of changes up that trend and allows themselves these plays that historically were considered a little bit less potent because you kind of had to rely on specific operators to play them. But now you know you can have the right operators, and you know that if you run this the best way you can and you bring the right operators, they can start leading to be these more potent plays, especially because a lot of these strategies haven't really adjusted on the defending side for attacker repick yet.
This is true. The other thing, though, too, is Predator were going for an interesting lineup. They kept bringing the same lineup, like you said, not really taking advantage of the fact that they could switch off of it. The other thing that was interesting was bringing Lion, which makes me think they were trying to emulate perhaps the play that we had seen coming out from the Brazilian region especially. And in that case, it wasn't the right team to use it against, in my opinion. Just looking at how Emergence were playing on their defense, they like to stay still a lot and hold pixel peaks. So when you're using a Lion, you know, that only can work so well when the defenders like to move around a lot. While they were holding extended holds, they didn't generally move all that much from those positions. It was only transition phases where they'd move and then they'd hold a new position. So I don't feel like the Lion did that much for Emergence, unfortunately. Or
yeah, yeah, or against Emergence maybe. But in any case, yeah, we actually are seeing Cordell enter into the basement, a rarely utilized section of this map. Matt Bonger and Perseus as well, and it looks like they're going to be taking below control very quickly. Trying to get a few nades in there could be pretty potent, as Well, we like to see people's feet blow up, and there goes Perseus's first nade, and there goes our ears as well. We have the sound bug, ladies and gentlemen, but Matt Bonger gonna find a kill onto Letty and Cordell onto Ice Bear. That is already a 2-player advantage in favor of Emergence.
And they're bringing that combo. They have the Lion and the Jackal. So whether you're standing still, it doesn't matter. It'll find you with one or the other. The peak's coming through, and the jump over, not a wise one. Bluefishy getting shut down. Percy's ready and waiting with a LMG in hand. That's not a gun you want to go up to with ump in your hand. Not exactly the best gunfight. Russian going to try and swing this player, but he gets shut down as well. The LMG just so strong. Dell in a 1v5. It's pretty much hopeless at this point. Going to just hope for the ones to go his favor and find one. But from behind, Matt Bonger shut him down. Emergence taking yet another round.
Perseus going nuclear on that round between him and Matt Bonger. All 5 kills on that team. And taking a huge advantage now. That is 3 whole rounds. And, well, you mentioned statistically, maybe not the best site on the map. Still, I mean, you're defending, right? This is a map that you're probably comfortable with. And getting torn apart like that is, that has got to hurt. I mean, and realistically, once again, this is a situation where a lot of it is coming down solely to firefights, where if you sit back, build your crossfires, do everything you can to just make sure that you have the advantage, you're probably going to be doing a lot better. But unfortunately, Predator X seems to be lacking the discipline to do that, and Emergence is just aggressive enough to take advantage of it.
I was going to mention Emergence aggression, like you just said, and a huge part of it is just they're holding and pushing, whether defense or attack, strange angles a lot of the time. I feel like Predator Gaming don't know what to expect. They're kind of seeing ghosts everywhere. They feel like, where are they actually pushing us from? And they're getting caught unaware. And then on top of it, now you're getting pinged with the Lion and the Jackal. I think that this is just a form of aggression that they just haven't come prepared to face. They still have time here to adapt to it, but so far it's been leaving them pretty bloodied.
Yeah, pretty bloodied indeed. 2-5 is not a fun situation to be in. That being said, you are on defense, right? You have to make the attackers come to you, but Emergence have shown themselves to be totally prepared to take their battle to their enemy every time. Now, Matt Bonger, Cordell, Perseus, all over here on this side, and Blue all the way over elsewhere, gonna find the opening pick. 4-5 already for Emergence, in favor of Emergence, I should say, but Ice Bear is really going to be looking for this aggressive play. Or maybe not, just opting to fall back and make sure that he's safe, but Perseus might have a sneaking suspicion of where he is. This could be a dangerous situation for him, and with the Jackal ping, but it's not going to work. Ice Bear makes the swing, and he's going to find the kill, and now he's found himself into a relatively safe position, and all of Emergence is completely changing direction to go and track him down. Now, obviously, he could be an important player later in the round, but with him eliminated, and with a decent amount of time still on the board, I think maybe that was a good decision.
Speed like that isn't something you see super often when teams just randomly will change the pace. And it looks random to us, but as soon as that player died on the attack, that was Perseus, they just jumped off of the plans that they had made and said, hey, whoever called it, let's go get this roamer. We know where they are. And they just hunted them down mercilessly, taking them out in quick fashion, really. Now they have half the round still remaining to just try and clear out the shield and start to get an execute.
Matt Bonger playing on the trophy door. We are looking like we're going to be having a fairly trophy-sided execute with control of 90. Although not all the way through books, this could be fairly simple for them. Now a big question is going to be whether or not JRAM is able to open up any of these walls. I mean, the vault wall would be particularly useful for them, but if you can't get that open, well, it's really not that big of a deal. And Blue as well, playing on the other side, can be very potent. If he manages to cut anyone off, well, he's not going to. He's going to lose his own head to his own namesake, Blue Fishy, evening up the round, the man count.
All's even on the northern front, we'll say, is they've been pretty quiet up until that death. Just a lot of time elapsed, but nothing really gained on the side for Emergence. So they've let this 6-man kind of creep from Ethereal into a more solid position. The swing coming through at the right time that catches the smoke, and the shots don't land on the player on the shield, though. In the map room, Bluefishy trying to swing to the player, and he's going to find them. They're not aware of his position. That is Diffuser downed as well. Coming up from the other stairs, though, is Cordell trying to find this player who just gotten the kill. They're not sure of the position, but they find the prone one, and now it's a 1v1. They have to go for the kills. They can't possibly go for the plant, can they? Time is not favoring them. They have to stick it. Now Doe has a chance to try and push, get the kill, but are they close enough? The position just getting close enough, but who can find the kill first? It's going to be Cordell, somehow off of the plant. Emergence coming out, clutching the jaws of, well, victory from the claws of defeat there, since, well, that was very narrow.
Wow. No, I mean, narrow indeed. And honestly, what clairvoyance by Cordell as well, both to find both of those kills, expecting the prone player, the Cade, shooting the nitro out of the air, and then managing to get the plant down because he knows I don't have any other options. I just got to try and stick this, and then sticking it and then finding the kill. I mean, that round by all means was Predator X's, but Cordell single-handedly grasped it out from the jaws of defeat and said, no, this is our match point. We want to show that we are the dominant force here. And my goodness, Cordell himself showing that just on his own. Well played.
For me, the turning point, which is a video series that NFL does sometimes. They talk about a turning point of the game. Well, for me, the turning point of this game, or that round in specific, was where Matt Bonger swung that smoke. That smoke just caught with their pants down, their hand in the air, just having thrown that smoke babe right as the swing comes through. They had no real chance. Luckily, they did get the refrag. It was Doe, but it really opened things up. That opened that bomb site in specific, and then of course the push on the the backside, excuse me, allowed them to get that kill. And then from there, Cordell somehow managed to clutch out the 1v1. But it really came from that aggressive push, allowing them to open up the avenue into sight. And I think that that's something that Emergence have just shown us throughout this matchup. That aggression has paid off.
Yeah, Emergence is very good at making gaps where there is no gap. Blue finding Letty. What was that? Was that a spawn peek? I am not entirely certain, but
it had to have been.
Well, that's not a very good start to your opponent's match point, but it is what it is, and now you have to kind of sit back and move on. Now, Emergence, after, well, that's going to make it a little bit easier for them to make gaps as well. But yeah, this standard north side over, and there's not going to be a whole ton of pressure over there. Ice Bear playing below again, but more than likely just going to get isolated and hunted down in similar fashion to what we witnessed last time. Now, he has made his way all the way into the basement, which is relatively safe for him at this point, but they're aware there's a player down here, and with a Jackal on the board, yeah, that is going to be rough in just a moment.
Here it is. It's like the sicking the dogs on him, really. There's not a lot they can do. The swing coming through. Oh my God, he wasn't watching. He didn't look the right way. Cordell with the freebie. Matt Bonger with the nade to follow it up is going to make Emergence have that 3-man advantage. 2 defenders left on the board against 5 attackers. You have over half the round remaining. It's almost like Predator Gaming trying to get their own aggression, and it's just being slapped down. Emergence saying, no, that's our game, man. You can't emulate it. What are you trying to do? And, well, we're going to have to see if these two can clutch it out.
Well, this one, at least, is Russian is going to find one, but ultimately get eliminated by Cordell, leaving us rather... I mean, I'm pretty satisfied. I don't know about you. I mean, Emergence really just stepped up and showed that they had the kind of calculated and coordinated aggression that we expect from a high-level team. Players of this caliber, and might I mention as well, you mentioned, see names like this, wonder if it's a pug stack. I don't think that was a pug stack. Roles were played very well. The communication was on point, and in all honesty, I have to hand it to Emergence. They really took this. There were maybe a few mistakes, I mean, as there are from any team on the side of Predator X, but Emergence, I mean, beautifully played. Way to build gaps, way to have your entries, gaining map control at any given point in time, isolating players. I mean, I could just go on and on. Really just gorgeous from that team.
It was great. Just seeing the aggression paying off for them, and Predator Gaming. It's rough losing 7-2, but they still have more to do here. It's not all done and lost just yet. But Emergence just overshadowed them. I think is more the story here. We don't want to be too critical of Predator Gaming, as you mentioned. Predator, they were just caught unaware by this massive aggressive pushing coming through from Emergence, and when you have players like Matt Bonger and of course Perseus just fragging out like that, there's not a lot you can do. So credit to them for trying, but really it was the Emergent show in this one, and we give them credit. 7-2 quick, keeping us on schedule, perhaps helping us out with that since we did start a little bit late. But
Yeah.
hopefully that that helps our producers here feel a little bit better about the time.
Yeah. Well, that is going to be it for Wes and I. Obviously, we're still going to have our wonderful producers. That is MGOV33 on production. And we have Schmitty as well on the observation. So huge shout out to those guys. Huge shout out to the teams for playing. And of course, huge shout out to all of you for coming out and watching. And while this is going to be the end of our night for Wes and I, won't be the end of the night for games. So stick around and we will see you in the next one.
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Welcome back to All World Gaming, ladies and gents. An amazing introduction to an amazing person. Santos is here for the first time, and it's Playday 3. No time like the present. He's with us, and we couldn't get rid of him for the entire season. Schmitty, however, has gone back to the observing desk, and Gio's coming in to fill in for Narwhals. For all of you wondering who our production team is in the background, I'm Time to Late. As we mentioned, that is Santos. I hope I'm pointing the right way. Let's at least hope.
I mean, you could be pointing the right
That
way.
way.
I'm over here, actually. I mean, it's all up to perspective time. As well, we have an amazing matchup in front of us here today. You're tuning into the second game that we're going to have on stream today. We have Lycus Empire going up against Dallas Vendetta, two organizations that I've had the honor of representing in the past. And, well, I mean, we're going to have an amazing matchup, like I said. Clubhouse is going to be the map of choice here today, and honestly, I don't know what to expect out of both of these teams, right? Lycus has CL-level talent. We're seeing Peekers, Focal played in the game earlier today in the Challenger League stream, so expect the unexpected here, Time to Late.
I mean, I'm expecting Clubhouse. Yeah, you saw the map. Clubhouse is our map. Our first ban, not too unsurprising, but I'm a little surprised it wasn't a Maverick or a Thatcher. What? Okay, never mind. Our bans are surprising. Finka is ban number 2. We're not going to see the LMG nor the Adrenal Stims here in our second game. Now, actually, third game of the day. I forgot. It's the second since the stream restarted because we had a little bit of a delay and gap between games. Welcome to Reschedules in T3, everybody. Dallas Vendetta banning out the normal ban. That's Valkyrie. But how do you feel as we head into Club?
I'm thinking, right, like Clubhouse, this is one of those maps that is generally thought of as an equalizer. This is a map that, both of these teams are definitely capable of playing, right? This is one of those maps where you're really able to practice up your synchronization of attacks, where you're playing the most fundamental siege as possible. And to bring a little bit of attention to the bans as well, I'm a little surprised that we're not seeing like a Thatcher ban, for example. However, Finka is certainly a band that has come to prominence in the early stages of this season's patch, considering that she brings to the table those LMGs that you were talking about, Time. She also brings nades to the table and the adrenal surges as well. The change obviously being that you take the HP with you throughout the duration of the round as opposed to having a temporary health boost. So I'm really expecting a lot out of this Lycus Empire defense, considering that Finka has been taken off of the board and they're starting off with a little bit of a curveball. They're going to the double bar site up first. Time to Light.
I love bar. It's an amazing site, and for an amazing caster as well. Santos, again, with us for the first time in a long time. You love to see it. Lycus Empire on this defensive side. It's El Jefe Ozone, who has also been in the casting booth with both of us a few times between a few different leagues. He'll be on the Clash this time around. I love Ozone. Such a good guy. Big guy, speaking of which, also a good guy, happens to be a little bit larger, is on the Alibi. That's not too surprising of a choice, but considering they're going to bar, I shouldn't be surprised about anything on this defensive side.
I'm expecting a few big things out of this Aruni as well. Obviously, Focal, he was playing the Aruni earlier inside of his Challenger League game to great effect. He's bringing that DMR to the table, and it's really a question of, what do you want to bring to the table? Would you like to bring that high fire rate that the P10 Roni can bring to the table, or do you want to bring the absolute stopping power that you are going to get with that DMR? It's certainly an amazing tool, that is for sure. What else is an amazing tool? It just so happens to be the LMGE that Foz is bringing to the table for the side of Dallas Vendetta. It is the perfect way to give yourself a little bit of pressure as you move into the later stages of the round, and the pressure is already being felt by Lycus Empire as Big Guy will be the first victim as an entry happens at the top floor, and what might be followed up another time as Focal goes down as well. Dallas Vendetta up to a perfect start.
Not gonna lie to you, this isn't looking great here for Lycus Empire. The bar site not playing in their favor. Throwing a curveball is not as effective as it used to be on the defensive side, considering attacker repick now exists. For all of you unfamiliar, for the first 42 seconds of prep phase, you can re-select your entire location, loadout, and even operator as a whole. The final 3 seconds, of course, are restricted to what you have chosen in the previous 42, plus, of course, the pick phase inside of everybody's pick phase. The defense gets to choose there as well. But Dallas Vendetta have chosen correctly, and their choice seems to be a lot of soft destruction and a denial of hard breach and information on this attacking side. That Jackal is playing perfectly, but Expiry is just dropping bodies. A 3K already, and the Thatcher, the least played operator in competitive play, even though, well, they're banned the most, looking very strong in round 1.
Incredibly so, as we hit the 1 minute mark. Lycus Empire playing from the backside. They only have the Clash and the Echo to try and clutch out this round. Ozone is going to have to be the forefront for this Lycus Empire defense as Dallas Vendetta closes in onto the site with Boo. Currently sitting here inside of Lounge, but not expecting the swing coming out from Hefe or Ozone, excuse me. And now, I mean, Ozone is feeling the pressure for sure. He goes down through the gunfire of dust, which means that Peekers is going to be the one and only member remaining. He has a couple of those drones to give him a little bit of information as it's down to a 2v1. Abstain's going to get that diffuser down with 15 seconds, and unfortunately, the Echo drone will not cancel that plant, which means that Peekers is now caught in a post-plant situation. He has a couple of rotates to work through, and it seems like Dust has a bead on his position. Will he be able to win? Will Peekers be able to win that gunfight is the question, as he has many an angle to peek and not too many bullets to do it with. He's making his way back into the bar with about 20 seconds remaining, and you need 7.5 seconds to get that diffuser down. And unfortunately for him, the round will be cut a little bit short. Dallas Vendetta will take our first round.
Open things up perfectly as well. It's exactly what you want. An opening round win. This isn't like Counter-Strike or Valorant where a game of economy plays a factor. A round win in a 1 versus 5 or a 1 versus 1, sometimes even with nobody alive, is still a round win. And Dallas Vendetta, I wouldn't say they do so in style, but they take round number 1. Bar is a difficult site to hold and to attack because it's just different. And Lycus Empire, they take the control that they deserved, but they didn't deserve all that much, as Dallas Vendetta showed in that one. Good offensive pressure on the top floor, and it just collapsed down on the middle floor. It almost was brought back. I will give it to him on the Lycus Empire side. They almost brought it back. Namely, it was Ozone to bring it back on the Clash. Surprisingly enough, usually a support operator will bring it back, but it was meh for Lycus Empire.
Yeah, not a great start to their game. They're going to a little bit more of a traditional bomb site as they head downstairs to Church and Armory, but a lot of things need to be improved for Lycus Empire. You can't drop 2 bodies to an entry player. I think it was eventually 3 coming in from Expiry before he was eventually felled. And yes, they were able to recover things and get it down to a 2v1, but that's still a tall task to ask for if you are Peekers. But now, I mean, I'm looking at this bottom floor defense, right? What is Lycus Empire going to do here? It seems like they're rooting a bunch of players inside of the site and just creating some rotations to give them that little bit of flexibility. Doesn't seem like they're putting a lot of emphasis onto their roam game. Maybe extending some players out towards blue if they so decide, with Focal might be that loose roamer, that loose cannon for the side of Lycus Empire. Meanwhile, for Dallas, it seems like they want to go for a thorough clear as much as possible as they make their way up towards the CCTV room. Starting that drone work in Foz, well, he's going to be the primary entry while Peekers tries to drone, one of the members from Dallas Vendetta tries to drone in for him.
Doing your due diligence. What did I just watch? A flashbang yeeted into the void? Okay, well, it's me losing my train of thought. Don't mind me. That was about as confusing as things get here in Rainbow Six Siege, and, well, I've been around this game for a little while. Dallas Vendetta, nonetheless, crossing their T's, dotting their I's, doing your due diligence on the attacking side. That's how you make sure you don't get removed by roamers hiding in corners. Foslin will remove your default camera. Remove your default cameras, kids, especially if you're playing ranked with me, or I'll flame you.
I've been the victim of that flaming a few times now. Sometimes I just let things slip. Time, okay? That's on me. I will shoot out my cams next time I play with you. Which, by the way, we are overdue for a ranked session at some point. Well, we were overdue for an opening gun battle, as Clouds will open things up for the side of Lycus Empire. This time around, they are going to win the entry battle. Will they be able to convert that into a round win? As we head into the 1 minute and 30-second mark, and Dallas have cleared out the top floor. They're now turning their attention over this mid floor. I'm assuming we're going to get an attack onto the basement real soon, but they're making absolute Swiss cheese of this floor, ensuring that nobody from Lycus Empire is anywhere to hide.
Difficult situation, though, for them, as they've run out of hard breach utility. Of course, the Thermite being the first one to fall earlier on, Evil Cloud's getting that opener. That's the catalyst to the success here in the Lycus Empire defense, and both hard breach utility pieces being used early on by Abstain. That makes things difficult. While it's Swiss cheese, there's not enough of holes in that floor for you to fit a body through. Of course, the metal bar is not being removed. Is probably the more difficult of the situations thus far for them. Foslin on the LMG, ironically enough, bringing in this Russian reflex, but Ozone doesn't even care about being stunned up. The opener, again, going the way of Lycus Empire. A 2-for-0 trade thus far in the round. Ozone trying to get a little over-aggressive, but it's not going to cost him a single bit of their life, at least not in terms of binary code. Dallas Vendetta in a 2 versus 5, which is 20 seconds left in the round.
15 seconds remain, and Dallas have only one option. It's to force themselves down these main stairs and eventually trying to get things open in, trying to pushing through in through Moto. But Peaker's holding a cross angle as well. Focal and Ozone have no intention of dropping their gunfights anytime soon. And what was a dominant round win from Dallas Vendetta in the first round is followed up by an equally as dominant, if not more so, from Lycus Empire as they take and equalize our round count as we head into round 3. Lycus Empire inside of that round were unbreakable once they were down onto that bottom floor. Once Dallas Vendetta tried to get that execute going in through main, they were held off pretty handedly by the Lycus Empire team. There were smoke grenades and all what that they had to deal with. For if you were the side of Dallas Vendetta, they just had no means to push through.
One of the main difficulties in these situations, especially there for the Dallas Vendetta, is vital picks versus quantity of picks. You have quantity versus quality. That's always the argument. In that situation, the quality played the main part. Of course, going 2-0 in terms of opening duels in a single round is pretty nice to kick things off for you, especially when one of those opening duels is the Thermite to fall. Boo now switching over to the Thermite expiry, now going to the Thatcher this time around, at least for the time being. Of course, they can still reselect. I don't see any of them switching up because overall that's a sound composition. Abstain, trying to make sure they have that contain power on the attacking side, making sure, again, that not all of their hard breach is kept in one basket. The Buck, of course, being shut down later on with a very sound Electro Claw trick from that Moto hatch. Overall, a strong round for the Lycus Empire side, both in terms of their utility usage, their opening duels, and overall their staying power on the defensive side.
What do Lycus Empire plan to do with this defense as well? Do they plan on extending over towards the cash side? Maybe they send some roamers in towards the mid-floor bar area to try and get some pressure coming back up these main stairs. Who knows? But it's Abstained beginning things for Dallas Vendetta as they attempt to get this Maverick trick going. Meanwhile, for Dallas Vendetta, they've actually also gotten the CCTV wall open. So it seems like they want to extend things over to the CCTV side and eventually push on over from that area of the map. But Big Guy will try to shut things down as Boo is going to go down once again. He's currently sitting at 0-3, not able to get anything going inside of this matchup as of just yet. Meanwhile, for Lycus Empire, this aggression could definitely benefit them moving forward. Big Guy, I think he intended on going for another run out as well, but nothing to be found as Abstain begins and continues his work here on the Jacuzzi side.
Speakers playing this Frost, I was about to note something about mainly the welcome mats existing. I've seen some pro players not crossing their T's and dotting their I's, or amateur players at this level. Abstain, trying to prep a nade. That's going to go a little bit too far. What happened to that nade? It hit something, but I don't know what it hit. Did it just hit off like the top of the little reinforcement and go straight down? Is that what happened?
I have no clue. I have no clue what happens to that nade, but Peaker's finding another kill. That's Dust going down. Things going from bad to worse here for Dallas Vendetta as we enter what is now a 4v1 situation. With a minute remaining and the diffuser down, we've seen Expiry win these, but it won't be the same case this time around. Lycus Empire with another round victory.
A successful one at that. They are putting together sound rounds. Nice shot being dropped in chat, justifiably so. Focal putting that one through. But overall, you're looking at a strong half, at least a start for Lycus Empire. They go bar, and it just doesn't work. And they're going to go back there again with a relatively similar, if not the same comp. It is a carbon copy composition. on the defensive side, at least from round number 1. Ozone back on that Clash, Clouds back on the Mute, Peekers back on that Echo, which I want to note was not as successful as it should have been with the utility usage. Those yokai drones did not deny the plant nor allow for a peek into a disoriented enemy. It's not looking great. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like this idea from Lycus Empire, but it's this or CCTV cache. Apparently they're choosing the better of two evils, at least in their own eyes.
What does Lycus Empire intend to do with this defense? It seems like they want to extend a little bit over towards Strip, but ultimately it is going to be a primarily horizontal defense by the way it looks from Lycus Empire. Meanwhile, from Dallas, they had success attacking this double bar site, but like you, Time to Light, I love seeing these new sites. It is a definite breath of fresh air that Siege definitely needed. Let's see if Lycus Empire can capitalize on the fact that maybe you don't see this bar bomb site that commonly. I mean, it is a pocket bomb site, or at least it used to be a pocket bomb site. It seems like Lycus Empire loved this site as we move forward into this round, but Dallas Vendetta, it seems like they want to push in from the CCTV side and move their way over, again taking towards bedroom and then Swiss cheesing the floor and making sure that no one can hide from Lycus Empire. That was the game plan inside of the first round as well. Let's see if they can execute it to the same degree of success here in round 4.
I'm looking at some stats brought to us by Death Monarch, who, by the way, is our amazing stats person. Go give them a high five in Twitch chat because they make our lives a lot easier. In the Lycus Academy game, Zero and Pulse were the bans for one team, while Thatcher and Valkyrie were the bans for the other. They banned out some interesting maps. I'm trying to go through the maps and see what map they played on, but I don't see it and I can't figure out why. But Zero was banned. I just want to highlight that really quick. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Zero certainly an operator that you want to bring to a map like Chalet. I've seen him played on that map many a time, but obviously not getting a bunch of playtime here in this matchup as Expiry trying to open things up with that LMGE. Zofia getting passed around that Dallas Vendetta lineup. It seems like everyone wants a turn, everyone wants a hand at that LMG. Meanwhile, Foz picking up the Thatcher, this time around. Dust taking a bunch of damage and eventually getting downed, but no capitalization coming in from Lycus as all of them are falling that kill feed shining blue and orange, with orange being the leading color. That is a great deal of success there for Dallas Vendetta as they forced it down into what is a deja vu. We've seen Ozone and Peekers in this situation once before, and we're getting the same thing here in round 4.
Unsurprisingly. So it's a carbon copy. Again, it's a carbon copy. However, it is no, never mind. Okay, I was about to say Ozone can get another 3K and bring it back to a 2 versus 2, but it's not going to happen this time around. The clash will be removed. Peekers in a 5 versus 1, and is 4-1 thus far on the game. The only round they've died in was round number 1. They're going to switch to the yokai drone, try and deny this plant. No, not going to happen. It's heard, at least the switch to it, and the plant will go down. Now, just 35 seconds to get on that diffuser, and we have been gifted the audio bug. Everybody loves to see it. There's 2 kills, though, for Peekers. Nothing more than that. Dallas Vendetta will take round number 4 and tie us right back up. It's like we never left the opening ban phase. We're right back to where we started.
Absolutely, and it seems like Lycus Empire, despite their want to try and make this bomb site stick, that bomb site being the bar bomb site, there really hasn't been any success found from the team so far. Dallas Vendetta have had a great deal of success with attacking vertically and eventually converting that into a horizontal execute and leaving Peekers on that back line. Well, there's only so much that you can do with a 1.5 scope and an MP5 SD. So if Lycus Empire want to reattempt that bar bomb site later on, they're going to have to give a little bit more attention to the vertical play, as Dallas Vendetta, again, have had a great deal of success with just making sure that they can head up to that top floor, tear up the floor and make sure that no one from Lycus Empire can have a little bit of respite inside of their common corners. But now we're going back down to the church bomb site once again. This is a bomb site that Lycus Empire have had success on in the past. They've won it the one time that they played it before. So if they stick to the game plan time delayed, I'm assuming that they're going to win this bomb site once again. And I mean, Lycus Empire have had some sound defenses, that is for sure.
That's certainly the goal for them to win it. I mean, I'm no overall like big brain coach or analyst. I just talk about the game. But
I'll save that for yeah.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I think they want to win. Now, understandably so, Dallas Vendetta in that same right want to do the exact same thing. Expiry, going on to the Zofia. We're seeing a lot of role switches on this Dallas Vendetta side. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be completely honest with you. Because usually, yeah, you like to see some diversity in compositions, but also keeping with consistency is always nice. Now, notably, Fozlin is 0-3 playing Zofia, and Boo is 0-4 between that Thatcher and Thermite, so see things as you will, with Fozlin now switching on to the Thatcher, and Boo sticking with that Thermite, but everybody else on Dallas Vendetta sticking with what they've been working with, Abstain back on that Buck we've seen a couple times, and Astobi on towards that Sledge. Down goes the hard breach charge. Does it land? No, it will not be completed. The impact trick from below. Evil Clouds being an evil person. That's a little mean, removing somebody's utility like that.
That can opener does take a very long time to pop off, and obviously, like you said, the impact tricking certainly making a gigantic difference. As it seems like we have a team that doesn't work out in Lycus's Empire's favor, as not only do you kill one of your own teammates, but you also just die once again. Ozone, well, he wasn't much of a nice guy there, killing Focal and also losing his life. So once again, we're down to a 3v5 with Dallas Vendetta. Well, they want to convert this into a round win. They want to prove that the Lycus Empire defense of the bottom floor isn't as effective as we think it is. Will they be able to deal with the rest of the defenders down here? That is the question, Time Delay.
Well, it's not only down here, it's up here as well. A long flank coming through for Big Guy, who is a big flanker around the backside, playing the German op of Jaeger, but a lot of grounds now being taken by this attacking side. They don't have the flank coming in quick enough to deal with this speedy push through. Evil Cloud's just not landing the shots, and they're going to make it across. There's one, though. Big Guy with the flank does find a single. It's a 1-for-2 trade, favoring the Dallas Vendetta side, and now into the 1 versus 3. Big Guy needs to drop here. They actually can drop if they get this clearance. They do indeed. Expiry will fall. They have to clear at the Thatcher. Just put down that bomb. Peek, he gets another 1 versus 1. Triple kill and a 4K on the line. The peek around, I don't think he saw the Buck on that far side. He did not. Abstain has all the information to work with in these scenarios. The spray around does not make it through the AC bars. He can peek this, but he has to fully swing that Buck, who he's now seen. He sees the legs. The shot's coming through. He'll land the kill. He will land the quad on the round. Lycus Empire will retake from another 2 versus 5. Dallas Vendetta's attack on the bottom floor is ruined, and they'll retake the lead.
You want my analysis on this time? I thought it was chalked. I thought Lycus had no chance. And if you're looking at it from a team perspective from Lycus, I'm right. They absolutely had no chance, but Big Guy proving that he's the bigger guy inside of the lobby. He's an absolute beast inside of the game, and he shows absolutely why there. I mean, Dallas Vendetta just not a great post plant coming in from them, right? You had that player inside of Moto, but a fortunate sort of swing coming in there from Big Guy ensures that he can get that kill for free, and then just not a great crossfire setup coming in from Dallas Vendetta. Yes, you get the diffuser down, but really just Abstain plays a pretty risky position there. If he gets found out, just the lack of maneuverability that you have when you are prone inside of Siege, proving to bite his butt a little bit there, as Lycus Empire take that round, and now they head up to what is the lost bomb site here. We've seen all 4 of them, but this is the first time that we are going to see CCTV being brought to the board here. Will Dallas Vendetta be able to mount a successful attack? They need some production from Foz and Boo here. I'm looking at them two specifically as we head into this round. Dallas Vendetta needs some production from them if they want any hope in hell of winning this round and tying up our score.
Ironically, nobody's playing in hell or Harry Potter, as some people call it. I call it hell because it makes it easier to remember for me because, tiny brain out here. Bandit trick attempt coming through. They'll put down the bandit battery, pick it right back up. You do see a Thatcher on the board, notably enough. Down goes another bandit battery. This one should land. It does indeed. Away goes one of those exothermic charges. They have to deal with this, notably enough, and they have to do so quickly. One of those hard breach utility pieces, or one of those hard breach charges from the thermite is dealt with. Notably, they still have that torch on Maverick, but past that, there is no possible hard breach other than that final exothermic charge.
It might have been a case of just moving a little bit too fast if you are the side of Dallas Vendetta, right? You want to be able to get that wall open as quickly as possible, but you need to do your due diligence first. That is a theme that comes up in many of the games that we have casted together, Time to Light. It's that you need to put a little bit of pressure onto the player that's playing the CCTV wall before you can try and get that exothermic charge off. Obviously, now they have a little bit of pressure as Evil Clouds has relocated towards the back of CCTV, and so has the rest of Dallas Vendetta. They've made their way over towards the bedroom side, and now they're just trying to catch these picks as they move in. But Foz's struggles continue as Peekers finds yet another kill on that SMG-11, and things go from bad to worse from Dallas Vendetta, right? You've wasted one of those exothermic charges. You have the Talon shields to play behind, but really, I'm not sure what they'll be able to get going with this attack. They're trying to get this construction wall open, but again, I don't know how much hope they have. It seems like they're going to be stuck within this funnel unless Boo can open up the secondary wall.
No way am I seeing...
Yeah.
They're actually... Okay.
Yeah.
I suppose that makes perfect sense. I'm just going to stop questioning things. Nice opener for Expiry. They will open things up, both in terms of the site and in terms of the fragging. Boo finding their first kill in the game. Nice job for them, as it's round number 6 for them to do it. Better late than never, as I mentioned, both with them killing and you coming in to cast with me. I'm still excited about that, by the way. Still a 3 versus 4. Lycus Empire need to come back in yet another round, but this one's a little bit easier than the ones we've seen in prior. Big guy, a nice return shot, but staying past his welcome.
Oh!
As it's falling apart. It is falling. Oh my goodness, Evil Clouds even finds the final one. This vertical angle playing across in through the TV set. They don't clear him. Use your drones, kids. It may just save you some rounds.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the drones because I want to see Dallas's drone economy in the later stages of that round. Did they have any in their pocket? Did they, not utilize the drones to their full effect? Because you would have known that the person playing inside the CCTV was going to swing out at you, or at least you would have known the rough positionings of the players from the Lycus Ember defense. It seemed like Dallas were playing a very reactive game of Siege where they wanted to face check everything. And why wouldn't you, considering that you have the Talon shields as a little bit of loose cover and also as a window? But the biggest thing to note from the Talon shields that Osa brings to the table is that they're completely transparent. Yes, they provide you a little bit of cover as far as bullets go, but whatever information you gain is also a little bit of information that the defense can gain. And I think Lycus were just playing the information game a little bit more effectively. Now, will they be able to do the same thing as we head into their attacking half? Peekers playing on that thermite. No shortage of hard breach. They've brought 3 to the board.
I want to go back to last round super duper quickly because we've luckily had the opportunity to bring up the VOD, which is exactly what I've just done. They had 9 drones available, 2 of which kept in pocket. Expiry had 1 in pocket, the other one was on Foslin's dead body. So if you're really looking at it, they had 8 drones available, 7 put out on the field, or the map. Yet not droning in, albeit the mute was a catalyst to the lack of information, so that wasn't awful. But it was certainly not good. You need to be able to have that info before you push in, especially when you take so much time to put in the info. We saw the Maverick torch being used earlier on to take out that mute jammer. As soon as that's taken care of, throw out drones. And also, I don't know how Lycus Empire won that round because they kept splitting their tertiary site between gym bedroom and CCTV cache. Yet, it was successful for them both times. And I don't understand how. They lost bar as their first site. They won it the second time around. They won gym bedroom, basement twice. and then CCTV cash when they split away from Gym Bedroom even after winning it, and somewhat soundly as well. The Lycus Empire defense makes me question my sanity, much less Rainbow Six Siege reality, yet it was a successful one as they won 66.66666 repeating percent of the rounds.
You draw a line over that 6.
I
Dallas Vendetta looking to draw a line over the success of the Lycus Empire. They're looking to put a slash through it, one might say. And Boo, with a perfect opener, will be able to do that for Dallas Vendetta. He finds that Nitro Cell kill, and it seems like we're getting another one of those as another Nitro Cell lands from Abstain. He'll take down Ozone. That's 2 of your hard breachers off the board. Where is the utility usage coming in from everyone else? Ozone was able to get one of those hatches open, but the frags are opening as well. Evil Clouds and Foz both finding a couple of kills, but it's Dallas Vendetta that find themselves over the mountain in terms of kill count. Lycus Empire, we've seen peakers in many a clutch situation before, Focal as well, and they have to win out the round here for Lycus Empire. They need to find a couple of picks if they want to stand any chance inside of this execute, and there's the pick right there. Expiry gets found out, and Lycus Empire, in not the direst of straits, but they certainly would love to find another pick as we head into their execution.
I refuse to believe in 2 versus 4s they cannot win rounds. They're looking to put down this diffuser and possibly keep this vertical control. Focal is not holding down the angle, and apparently doesn't have to. PK is covering his own ass. Will find one, but needs to look for more. A 2 versus 2, now to a 2 versus 1. Abstain is left alone as the Cade. No C4 available. The Electro Claws are about as irrelevant as this round in terms of man advantage. And the Cade looking to push through. Sound cues should be made in these situations, but apparently they aren't. PKR's down to a sliver of health. Look back in his general direction. He may indeed fall. They will, and he will as well. Focal in a 1 versus 1 will win it out as well. The L8 reigns supreme, as does the Lycus Empire attack. A 2 versus 4 doesn't even matter here for the Lycus Empire side. They will extend their lead to 3 and show their offensive prowess.
Holy hell, they pulled off the 2v4, like you said.
Again.
It is never chalked if you are the side of Lycus Empire, apparently. I've been watching a lot of COD recently, and one of the teams from COD, their motto is never chalked. You could probably put that up to Lycus Empire as well, as they've won many a round that they've had no business of winning inside of this game, and they are certainly in the driver's seat of this matchup as we head into round number 8. Dallas Vendetta have had no answer to the Lycus Empire defenses nor their offenses. And notably as well, you're looking for, I was mentioning the production that you're getting out of Foz and Boo, excuse me. They found a couple of kills. They've gotten those zeros outside of their score line, but really they're struggling as much as anything. And Lycus Empire, you're not seeing that degree of struggle. It's Clouds is the only person who isn't going positive, and he's even right now. So really, Lycus Empire finding a lot of success on all fronts, and I'm expecting Evil Clouds to change this as he's picked up the Zofia LMG. He's going to let that thing go burn.
You know, I'm no mathematician, but I decided to do some math between those two players, Boo and Foslin. Yeah. They have averaged 0.42 kills a round, 3 through 7, by the way, and they have a combined 0.27 KD. Yeah, it's not good for all of you wondering. Not good at all. The rest of the team looking a little bit better. Overall, dead even in terms of KD, other than their +1 between Dustobi, Abstain, and Expiry. But the team as a whole needs to be performing, and when you have 2 weak links, the chain's going to break every day of the week, especially when one of them's playing a more frag-heavy operator. He just sledgehammered his own drone. Don't do that, kids. But the Aruni, it's a frag-heavy op. As much as I hate to say it, you need to be clicking heads on the Aruni, and we saw them play the Zofia in the first half. That's even more of a frag-heavy op. Yeah, the Surya gates and those Zofia charges from the Lifeline are good, but they're not good enough to go 1-6.
Probably not. Will he see any success? You've seen the DMR that Focal brought to the table as a Rooney. Foz opting for that P10 Rooney, which one would argue is a better fragging tool up against, these one-on-one gunfights. It's when you peak with 2 to 3 different people where you start to run into a little trouble with that P10. Let's see if Foz can pick things up for his team, because right now Dallas Vendetta are certainly down bad. And I hate to say that because I currently represent them as a content creator, but unbiased caster here, they are getting absolutely torn apart. Will they be able to pick things back up? It's Abstain to try and do that for the team. Abstain has been a steady fragging force here for Dallas Vendetta. He finds the first pick onto Peekers nonetheless. And it seems like things are going from bad to worse. A lot of orange in the kill feed, and when it all settles down, Focal is the only player remaining for Lycus Empire who has to pull off a 1v5. Will he be able to do it is the question. He's currently sitting just inside of the main stairs and getting peeked from all different angles. As soon as he tries to make his way down towards that double door, he's going to get his head cleanly taken off, and Dallas Vendetta stop Lycus Empire's momentum for now.
Evil Clouds, by the way, got so dropped. Like, good nighted type of quick chat. That was mean. Yeah, that was absolutely nuts. Abstain, very, very well done on that shot.
Mm-hmm.
Evil Clouds, sometimes you gotta hit those, my friend. It was just a flawless round from Dallas Vendetta, and one that they needed. That's not only... Exactly. Hit your shots. Hit your shots, kids. Click heads. All it comes down to. But Dallas Vendetta, that's a good round for a multitude of different reasons. Number one, it shows that they're not completely done and dusted on this map. Clubhouse is not going to convincingly go the way of Lycus Empire, at least not just yet. But also, notably, it's a momentum round. They're coming back into this with a bang, no less, and as they head to the gym bedroom sites, back to the top floor, they will indeed go. Hopefully, they can try and lock things down, this time on the defensive side, because they're 0 for 1 here on the attack.
0 for 1 is absolutely right. I mean, to the gym and bedroom site we go. It's a strong site if you look at it objectively. The gym and bedroom site we saw over the past year or so, it became, some teams' primary site, most teams either secondary or tertiary site, which is exactly where it was in the previous meta, but most teams are opting to use it as site number 1 or site number 2. Obviously, Lycus Empire, where a little bit of innovators, we might say, as they tried the bar bomb site many a time, and seeing a little bit of success, but not really, because I'm pretty sure they lost it both times around. Dallas Vendetta going for this gym and bedroom site, it means that their primary points of contention are going to be out here towards CC, as Schmitty is highlighting, but also towards construction. Maybe you put a little bit of pressure towards the jacuzzi wall as well to get a little bit of a pinch going if you are Lycus. What will their strategies hold? Peekers needs to stay alive on this thermite, though, because those exothermic charges have been crucial for the side of Lycus Empire. When they can open up those secondary points of attack, that is when they are at their strongest. And Peekers getting one of the hard walls open with the exothermic charge, doing exactly that.
It's not great for this defensive side, already being collapsed on. Notably, they're not looking for a pinch on towards that construction side because they really don't have to. Expire is the only one in that general direction, and they're playing in the logistics closet, as I believe that's called. It's a good start thus far. Never mind. Okay, Dustobi just dropped big guy. That's a good night in chat moment, by the way. It is traded back as the Aruni will fall 10-7 thus far for Expiry, which is an amazing start to say the very least. I'd like to go 10-7 in my ranked games, but I have a chronic condition called not being good at the game. I really hope I can get that checked out eventually. Seems like Dallas Vendetta and Lycus Empire are trading out evenly, though. 3 for 3, 3 versus 3 is a 2 for 2 trade overall. Goes dead even, but Boo is just going to be dropped from inside of the bathroom. Somebody hasn't checked their corners, and now it's just Abstain in a 1 versus 3 with arguably the worst weapon in Rainbow Six Siege.
He gets taken down quite swiftly by Evil Clouds, and Lycus Empire picked right back up where they left off. They dropped around, and now they are back in the winners column, as they are now on match point. Dallas Vendetta with their backs up against the wall, and that is when an animal is most dangerous. But I'm thinking that Dallas Vendetta so far, they haven't been that big of a force, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. They've gotten a bunch of rounds. They've gotten these 3 rounds off of some pretty explosive plays, but Lycus Empire have seemed the stronger team through and through. And I want to address your ranked play comment just briefly here as we move into what could be the final round here inside of this game. Tom, I don't think there's a doctor in the world that can help you with that. I've tried.
That is both very mean and very true. As much as I hate to admit it, it's just a chronic condition. I got to get it checked out eventually. But moving past terrible jokes and terrible banter, it looks like Dallas Vendetta also need to check out their gym bedroom defense again, because that was about as unsuccessful as it gets, barring a flawless round, and it didn't even seem that good for them. Yet we're seeing them go right back to it. Foslin's going to pick up a Frost this time around. I don't know about this one, Santos. I really don't. Looking at their comp, it's not great. Expiry's back on that Aruni, the Mark 14 being brought this time around. Boo onto the Jaeger, which, for reference, is the most frag-heavy operator on this composition, yet Boo is 3 and 8. Like, what?
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. And Foz, I'm thinking that he's bringing those Frost traps just to instill a little bit of confidence in his mind, whether that be through the absolutely no kick that the 9mm C1 brings to the board, or maybe just finding a couple of rat plays with those Frost traps. But the way to bring that about your team, if you are the side of Dallas Vendetta, is you need to deny as much information as possible. So I'll be looking at that drone counter for Lycus Empire, and specifically looking at how they are going to be able to shoot these drones to deny any sort of checking coming in from Lycus Empire. Dallas Vendetta are, they're down bad inside of this matchup. That needs to be said, but they can just certainly start the comeback right here. The jacuzzi wall gets open here from Peekers. We've seen this time and time again as they try and get this execute going. Evil Cloud's taking a little bit of damage, but Big Guy will actually be the person to fall. I'm sorry, my feed kind of froze up for a little bit, but Big Guy is the person that falls here for Lycus Empire. Dallas Vendetta are now up a man, which is something that we can't say throughout the course of or something that we haven't been able to say throughout the course of this matchup. But once again, the refrag's explosive and Focal, finding that kill onto Boo.
Overall, quicker fights this time around, but there's still 80 seconds left and 8 players alive between the two teams, dead even between them. For all you mathematicians, that's 4 versus 4. Never mind. Okay, abstain, just don't peek that. Why do you peek that? He'll be finished off, and now it's falling apart again for the Dallas Vendetta side. This is match point for them. They cannot afford to lose this round, much less the map, because they're already looking bad in the season. It's going from bad to worse as play day number 3 rolls around. It's going to roll away from them. Expiry and Destobi in this 2 versus 3. Notably, the 2 largest fraggers minus Abstain rather than Destobi in this one. But what can they do about it? Destobi is sitting in their smoke. Notably, the smoke change has been taken out, so that will not come through, but it's really not going to matter. They're aware of the Aruni's position and clearing her out notably enough, and they know that smoke is just sitting inside of the bathroom. They'll clear him. It's down to this 2 versus 2, but wait, they've brought it back. Evil Clouds is now left alone. What just happened?
No clue. No effing clue, but Evil Clouds will let that LMG sing, and he finds one. That's Expiry going down. He only has one more player to find. He pulls out the pistol, but Dallas Vendetta will win it off the skin of their teeth. I can hear your laughs, Tom Delight, but nonetheless, it's Dallas Vendetta finding a little bit of success, and finally so. Maybe not Foz, but it's definitely, there's definitely some fight for this Dallas Vendetta squad. They are the stars, like their logo with... I'm looking at your face right now. What? Yeah, Lycus Empire not able to win out that round. They had everything going for them. How many bullets were still in that LMG? I don't think he let go of the trigger once.
I'm gonna check. Hold up. I have it sitting next to me. Give me like 2 seconds to scroll through.
But yeah, okay. Because, while you do that, I will break this down a little bit. Dallas Vendetta were in a halfway decent post-plant spot, right? You had one person sitting inside of bathroom and there was no pressure from construction, so that opens up the ability for you to sit inside of Logi. Unfortunately, the person inside of Logi had no success. It all came down to that player that was sitting inside of the bathroom, but obviously down to a 1v1, and you knew exactly where Evil Clouds was sitting. You have a lot of flexibility inside of that bathroom position because they had to rotate out to the hallway, and they used it to full effect. If and only if there wasn't a pistol pullout from Lycus Empire from I think it was Evil Clouds on the LMG, they could have won that round and we would be doing our post-match analysis. But instead, it's Dallas Vendetta surviving another round.
Well, you know what the boomers say? Coulda, woulda, shoulda. They could have, they should have, they didn't. That's the real point about it. Unfortunately enough for the attacking side, at least for Lycus Empire, they won't pull that one out of the hat. No magic tricks this time around. Dallas Vendetta, I think, got away with a little bit of magic that time around. A 2 versus 3 that they should have had no business even being involved in, they pulled out of the hat like a rabbit in the night, and like a bandit in the darkness, they will walk away, at least with round number 10. However, they're not out of the woods just yet. 2 rounds in a row is required to send us to OT. Now that, my friend, is easier said than done.
Absolutely. Easier said than done, but you know that the Masters just concluded here today. What happened?
I got it. I got the number. I need to hit my left arrow key a couple times, but I will have the number. Would you like to guess how many bullets were left in that LMG?
I'm assuming it's less than 50.
You are correct. It was 18 when he switched to the pistol. There are 16 bullets in the RG-15, yet he switched to the pistol anyway that had less ammo and does less damage. Questionable decisions, to say the least. Nice C4, though. That drops Ozone down to about 35 health. Not a great start for the Lycus Empire side, but again, they're making good ground on attacking a site that is not the top floor. They're clearing out this top floor and making sure they do it with a lot of speed behind it.
Absolutely. They've made their way to the middle floor. Like you saw, Focal was doing some work with that sledgehammer and a little bit more soft destruction inside of the kitchen. You can see that it is well placed inside of the kitchen as well as the kitchen hallway, and they've also gotten the hard hatches open. They've gotten the, I believe that is the stock hatch open. I believe they've gotten the moto hatch open as well. So Lycus Empire with great headway into this attack, and now they're just trying to play for this pick, waiting for Dallas Vendetta to present them with an opportunity before eventually making their way onto the site. But the smoke grenades on the main stairs could be delaying that somewhat. A minute remains inside of this round. Lycus Empire seem to have stalled out a bit, but they're doing a lot of construction, or a lot of destruction, excuse me. But wow, Focal opening things up with a great 2-piece. He might find one more as he tries and sprays through the wall. Focal will eventually go down. Evil Clouds as well, catching the team kill from Ozone once again. And Lycus able to get that diffuser down. Peekers is able to plant in. Now we're in a post plant for Dallas Vendetta.
Not gonna be honest, Lycus Empire is lucky that reverse friendly fire is not a thing in comp. It really does not matter. Ozone ended up trading out their own TK, but it's into the 1 versus 2. It's not gonna happen. Lycus Empire will pull it out of the hat. The magic has gone their way. Houdini has left the house, the clubhouse more specifically. 7-4, the split this time around. They will take it. It didn't look great, but yeah, Evil Cloud saying it perfectly. Ozone has a team kill habit. They should get that one checked out.
Yeah, it's not a great condition to have, or not a great habit to have if you are looking to clean things up from Lycus Empire. I'm sure that they're going to go over the VOD at some point and say, hey, we probably need to clean up these team kills because good teams are going to tear us apart if we feed them those mistakes time and time again. And I have one more thing to add, Time to Light, before I pass it back off to you. It is that I've been in Peeker's DMs, and he would love it if I did this on stream, so I'm going to do this right now. Anyway, back to you, Time to Light.
All right. As much as I love hearing that, Santos has lost speaking privileges, as have we. We are going to send it to a quick break. When we come back, our final match of the night. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.